In the upcoming video, I will show you guys how to get rid of tenants, and it's basically extraordinarily simple. We just have to think outside of the box, and the main result will be, if you watch the video, you'll be able to put out the tenants, I don't say anytime, but within a few days, without a problem, without spending money, without being blocked for months, and you won't need attorneys or like legal stuff. Yeah, sure, what I say here, you should check if it applies in your country, because every country is different, so please don't take it like a word by word advice, but the main idea, like the main thinking will be good, and I think within most countries you will be able to use it. I want to give you an extreme example, thinking outside of the box. So I'm going over the top now, so be aware here. So the question is, if you're a man, can you punch a woman in the face? And the answer would be no, you're insane, you can't do that. And here comes the question, can a man punch a woman in the face? Like, I know it sounds crazy, but stick with me for the example, because I want to go like over the top. So is there a place where a man can punch a woman in the face? And not that it's socially accepted, but even grandma will laugh about it and she will love it? Yeah, sure, it is. And guess where it is that? And where can it happen? It can happen, for example, in a box ring. Let's say you have a girlfriend or like a spouse, and you go to the gym and you start to box and you playfully hit each other in the face. Is it socially acceptable? Yes. If sometimes accidentally you hit the woman like harder than you wanted, it's okay. If she offended? Probably not. See? So I started with something that it's like extraordinarily bad. And now it's not that bad, it's a playful thing between like two persons who love each other. So the main idea is here, we shouldn't punch women, but I say think outside of the box. And here's the biggest problem we make here with the real estate, the landlords, and about how to get rid of tenants. Because we're fixated on, oh, he said punch a woman, and we are fixated on how to get rid of tenants, because we are like that, oh, we have a tenant and we can't put it out from the house, he's not paying, he's destroying our house, and we can't put it out. And the question is, like, sure, like the government and everybody wants them there, the government doesn't want persons on the streets, it's logical, so we shouldn't fight them. The question is here, how we make that person legally not being a tenant. Because the second, in a legal standpoint, and I repeat it again, when the tenant stops being a tenant, then he doesn't have the right that a tenant has. So our question here is not how to make the tenant leave. Our question is how to make that person not being a tenant in a legal standpoint. And if we can do that, then it's like extraordinarily easy to put them out, because they don't have paperwork, documentation, or any legal right to be there. And that's it. And we have several solutions here, and let me show you a few without a particular order. So I give you the most hilarious version. I found it like really amusing. So we have a person that we know, and he's a priest, and he did that. So listen, a priest did that, and I found it like hilarious. So he wrote in the contract, if there is a problem, like they don't want to leave or they don't want, like, cause trouble, then they can beat them. And they signed, and that was hilarious. So we are not the bad guy and nothing bad will happen, but it happened because they started not to pay the bills, and they signed in the contract that all of their things can be thrown out, and them as well, and they signed it. And that's, sure, it's not like the most elegant solution, but it works, because if they sign it, it works. It's like the same in the boxing ring. If you go in the boxing ring and you're beaten, you signed there, like you're there for boxing. It's not assumed, it's a legal thing. So if somebody just looks at you on the street and they say that you're stupid, you can sue them. If you get beaten in the boxing ring, you can do nothing because you're there, you're in the boxing ring, you signed that you'll be beaten. So that's one of the solutions. And I tell him like my solution, and he was like, yeah, my solution is like way better, but I don't like it. I don't like it because it's way more complicated, way more complex. Therefore, I will want to show you like the two extremes. one his version, I want to show you my version that's even better, like it's morally acceptable, it's like working perfect, and I have like lots of solution in between, and I think those work the best. Another example that I don't like lately that much, but I want to tell you, like I think the upcoming ideas would be like way better, but I want to mention it as well. I think using memberships. Memberships is like a great tool because in a legal standpoint, they pay for the membership and the real estate is for free for the members. So if you say, hey, you stop paying the membership, then you don't have the membership rights, but you never had rights to the real estate part because that was for free. Can you see the logic? So let me put in another way. Let's say I'm going to the swimming pool and I'm not wearing flip-flops. They would say, hey, you didn't wear the flip-flops, so your membership it's over now because you're not our member anymore and you can't attend the swimming classes. That's it. And you're kicked out. And you're not even refunded, you get nothing. You get kicked out from the swimming club. That's it. And you can do the same. It depends, but I don't like I like it and I don't like it. I find it like a really good and elegant solution, but I think it's a kind of complicated for the most persons because you need like attorney here to make it like work like really smooth. So you need to pay upfront for that, and you have to be like let's say it sounds strange when you say to somebody like, hey, we want to do a membership here. It sounds strange, but this way you can go inside of the house, you have all of the rights to go inside, you can do literally anything. Okay, so now we are going to different solutions that I like even more. I think they are better. So back again to the main principle. The biggest problem is like the tenant-landlord relationship. So if we can break the landlord-tenant relationship, we can do literally whatever we want because they don't have the legal right to be there. Because if they are not a tenant, then they are what? They are like a robber of the house. They are like a burglar. And we can make a contract not for a year. We can make a contract with them in every 2 months. And after 2 months, let's say like, or in a month, or like a shorter period, when the contract is over, even if they paid or not, it doesn't matter because in the legal standpoint, they are not a tenant anymore. So if they're not a tenant, that means they have absolutely no right to the house. Not that you can, like basically they are like an intruder, they're like a robber, they're like a burglar there. So that's my logic. So I'm not an attorney here, but after my basic logic, it's like the same. If they don't own they don't have like a paperwork that demonstrates that they have somehow of a right or a connection for that house or for that real estate. That means they come on from the street, you have no idea who are them, and you can put them out. And I would write 2 things in the, for sure, every time without even a question, I would write 2 things in the paperwork. Like after they are not a tenant anymore, I wouldn't say after they don't pay, no. I would say after they are not a tenant, like the day after, in 2 weeks, like X days, 2 days, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, like it depends on you. All of their stuff that they leave there, it's a donation for you. So this way, it's not like, oh, they are not at home and you break into the house and something is missing. Because they can sue you like, hey, you stole this and that. But if you say, hey, everything that they left there, it's a donation, then they can take it because they donated it to you, whatever. Like, irrelevant what it was there, it was there. If it was like something like what, $1, it's yours. If it's $1 million, it's yours. It doesn't matter. And sure, like it's not like everybody has to sign it. Probably, like from 10 persons, like maybe 3 won't sign it, and they will say, oh, I won't sign that, but 7 will sign it. And if you think about, I would rather wait like 2 weeks or like 3 weeks with an empty house, not renting it out, and afterwards having a contract that's like $1 billion contract where you can't lose. Because that way, let's say, in the 4th of July, the contract is over, and within a few days you can walk within your house like normally, because in a legal standpoint they don't own anything, and in the legal standpoint they signed that everything that's there, it's yours. So if they took after that period, you can sue them and you can put them to jail because they robbed you, not them. Even if sure, like you don't have to be like a moron, and you don't have to take advantage, but at least legally you're on the upper part and not the other person who's abusing the system with the bacteria now, because they can't put them out that easily than usual. See my logic here? So I don't say you have to be a mean person and you have to abuse, because the person probably is in trouble, because if they wouldn't be in trouble, probably they would pay you. But I would say, let you be the person who decides what will happen, and let you decide how much you go with the generosity. Do you let them like a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years? Let you decide the problem. See? And yeah, sure, you can write it there. If they don't go out, then they sign that you can grab them and you can put them out after like 2 weeks. Like, why not? Let's say if I know about myself, I'm like a nice person and I know I will pay the bills, and I will sign without a problem saying like, hey, if I don't pay the paperwork, or I'm not a member anymore, like with the membership, so I'm not like a tenant anymore, then after a month or after like a week or after like 2 weeks without a notice, all of my things will belong to the owner of the house. Or if I'm there, if they grab me with their hands and they put me out politely or not, then they can do it and I would sign it without a problem. And sure, you don't have to convince anybody, but just think about it. The person who doesn't want to sign that means that person knows about them, they don't want to pay the bills. Because if you have a person who knows about them, they are like a good person, then they won't stay in the place where they are not welcomed, they will leave. Sure, they don't leave in a day, 2 days, 3 days because they are in trouble, but they will leave in like 2 weeks. No? So I think there are like good ideas here, and you should consult with your local attorney and see how it can be done in your country. And you should do like you should write like a lot of things in the contract, like saying, hey, if you're not doing this, the contract is over, like it's broken. If you're not doing that, the contract is broken. If you're not doing this, so you find ways that you can break the contract, like they will break the contract, and if they break it, they are not a tenant, and the second they are not a tenant, nobody can save them because they are like there illegally. So that's it. See the logic? So we have to think outside of the box, like that's it. It's not like, oh, we have to put out the tenant and the government and like nobody helps us and everybody, the whole world is against us. No, it's not. We just have to think. I know it's like I'm entertaining here and I'm going over the top, and I probably wouldn't do that, but for me it's like sounds really funny. So if they are not a tenant anymore, you can put in the contract like you can shoot them. like you put in the contract, if like you, as a reminder, you can put on like at the end of the contract, like with the little letter so they can barely see it, and you say like, if you're not a tenant anymore, that means you don't have the right to be there, so in a legal standpoint you're like an intruder, a robber, and if you are like living in this and this and this state in United States, then that means in a legal standpoint you can shoot them. Like, sure, I don't say you should do that, and I'm not with the guns, I never shoot with the rifle, but if you write it there, when they read it, like you let them think, like saying like, oh, we can push it here and we can play like the badass, and we can play like we mock the system and we are like riding the wave with the virus thing going on. But when they read it there with their attorney, like, wait a bit, that guy actually, not that he can put you out, but he can shoot you. I don't know. See? So again, go your local attorney, speak with them. I think the idea is good. Okay, not with the reefer, that's a bad idea, but the other but the other ideas are good and you should try them. And please talk with your attorney. That was today's video. If you're interested about great ideas like this, then please leave a comment below what you liked, what you didn't like. And in the other videos I will speak about zero energy architecture, sustainable architecture, how to build houses, premium houses under 5,000 euros per room with a total different construction method. Put it on the website for free, all of the blueprints, you can go there and check it. So again, that was today's video, and if you like what you heard so far, then I would ask you, maybe you should consider to subscribe. So that was it, see you in the next video.